We are now live.
Count us in, Cash.
A second. For anybody who's just now tuning in, apologies for the delay. We had a little, let's call it technical difficulties. Who's that with that fist bump, though? No soul with the fist bump. What's good, bro? Welcome in. Yeah, I want to hear the music. I want to hear the music that I'm playing too. Or is anybody live? No, you're not. So I can share my music with y'all if y'all don't mind.
Yeah, we're leaving the audience starving for content.
That's
You hear that? You
crazy.
see all these
They've been
you see all these
waiting.
comments? You see?
About time. Jeez. My apologies, guys. My apologies. Our apologies, bro. Finally. Yeah, we had some technical difficulties, chat. Our apologies. Bella with the 51 fist bumps. Let's go.
That's crazy.
51, bro. It's between Bello, Zeely, and Cubes. Those three guys, bro, they killing it right now. Y'all can
Wow.
hear the music. Alrighty.
All right, count us down, Cash.
We start in like 1 more minute. Hold up. Where the hell is the timer? There we go. Let me just start in a couple of seconds. Let me shut up.
Well, welcome in all the audience. We're glad you guys waited. We really are sorry for the delay.
Appreciate you guys. Q's with the 45th bumps. Let's
Absolutely.
go.
That's
Yeah, we
crazy.
really
40's
appreciate you
crazy.
guys. Yeah, we really appreciate y'all, man. All right, let's kill all that music real quick. And let's do this whole transition thing. We're going to go right into the intro. We're not going to waste no goddamn time. Let's get it popping.
Honor and tribute to the legend Toriyama.
All right, what's good, guys? Now it's my first time doing this intro live, so give me a second. Hold up. All right. Welcome to the Gamer Actual Podcast, the weekly podcast dedicated on discussing some of the biggest in gaming news. You can find us on all major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcasts and Spotify, with the visual version of this podcast being available on YouTube on youtube.com/cashgrow. This podcast. This podcast is also brought to you in part by X Element. To find out more about X Element, all the information will be included in the show notes. With all that said, I'm your host, Cash. And without further ado, I bring to you my co-hosts, Germ and Heartless. Fellas, what's good?
Welcome in, guys. Yo.
How'd I do? I know it's not perfect. That was like an 8 out of 10. At
That
least
was
an 8.
Wow,
was perfect.
that was solid. That was solid. I can tell you've been practicing that in your free time, driving in traffic.
That's crazy. Yo, Cash, they're saying your mic sounds up with your mic.
Sums up with my mic. What's up? Check your settings. What's wrong with my settings?
With Cash or all of us?
Peaking hard. It's fine. We'll fix it in post. It's all good.
The mic got too excited by that intro.
Right? Let's go. It's all good. It's all good. Hey, yo. Welcome in. Fellas, how y'all doing tonight, bro?
Doing great. How you guys doing?
I'm good. It's been a good week. A lot of exciting stuff going on.
Yeah, so let's just kick things off right into like games released this week. What do you guys think of the games this week? So we have Expedition, Mud Runner game. I think that's a Focus Entertainment game. The same guys that made Banisher recently. There's Foam Stars, Outlast Trials, Reveal, As Dusk Falls for PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. Because that game has been out for like 2 years now on other platforms. Unicorn Overlord and WWE 2K24. Thoughts on any of those games? Which one of these are kind of like calling your
I'll lead,
names right now?
I'll lead us off on that. The one that shouts out to me is Unicorn Overlord.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big fan of the developer, Vanillaware, who makes these games. Call out, to Dragon's Crown,
Mm-hmm.
Sphere. They make those ones. They make a lot of 2D sort of beat 'em up RPG games. But this one looks like it's taking more of a tactical side of things, where it's kind of like Fire Emblem meets Final Fantasy Tactics.
That's what it looks like.
And for those in the know, you guys remember the Souls Chronicles in Soul Calibur 3? Shout out to Soul Calibur 3. It looks like a combination of all the best parts of all those games. So I'm going to be picking this one up for the Switch. Guaranteed.
Okay. Atlas, what about you?
It reminded me of Final Fantasy Tactics, but with like non-pixelated graphics. It was cool. It's not a game I probably would play nowadays, but it looked really cool, interesting. Had some really cool design, some character designs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was cool stuff.
Dragon's Crown, which is the same developer, is one of my favorite PlayStation side-scrolling games. Just not necessarily a PG-friendly game. Be sure you don't watch it played in front of your mom. But be careful, don't play it around your girl. It's got suggested themes, but overall, it's like one of my favorite side-scrollers.
So this is completely unrelated, and also shout outs to Akira Toriyama. R.I.P. I would love to. This also reminds me of Fire Emblem, but that's not what I was about to say. I would love to see an updated version or a remastered version of Chrono Trigger, but with updated graphics in this style. This would have been so friggin' awesome,
That
bro.
would be crazy.
Yeah, that would be
tactical RPG,
One of the best RPGs ever.
Oh, well, yo, for sure. To this day, bro.
Tactical
this day.
RPG
To this day.
always-
Yeah, I grew up on Chrono Trigger, Secret of Mana, Earthbound. I'm pretty sure I mentioned these games last episode, but those are the RPG games I can never get tired of playing. Like, I'll pick those up and I'll never stop until I beat them again. That's just how it is for me in those games, anyways. What do you guys think about the other options?
The other one that I kind of would shout out would be Foam Stars. For all the Splatoon fans out there, it's available on PSN this month for free download.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's neat. That's neat.
So
Yeah.
check it out. It's essentially the same playstyle as Splatoon, but it's just got the Overwatch style graphics. So there really isn't any difference between that and Splatoon, except for the graphics.
I'm kind of over the Overwatch clone, to be honest with you guys. Like, recently they had this Time Splitters live service game or whatever. I don't even know if it was gonna be like a live service game, but it looked like a reskinned Overwatch. Not Overwatch, reskinned Fortnite. That's exactly what it looked like. It was so and they canceled the game apparently, so that's probably for good reason.
You can't clone Fortnite,
right? You can't clone Fortnite.
Y'all not Power World.
At this point.
Yeah. But yeah. What about any other games? Outlast Trials. So I personally like Outlast Trials, to be honest, but I want to hear what you guys have to say about it. Starting with you, Germ. What do you think?
The only thing I really know about it is that the game is scary as hell. I was watching Solo stream on it earlier this week, and dude, I had to turn the volume down. That game was very scary.
Oh, really?
Horror games, yeah.
I loved the setting of it. It was just very, very dark and very the atmosphere was, you kept thinking someone's gonna jump out at me at any moment. And then Solo, he's got like ice water in his veins. He just keeps it calm and cool. Like I don't know how he does that. But the game had my attention from when I saw him playing it, and I like the genre of first person scary games. I'm just a fan. So that game has that's probably third or fourth on the list for me to check out this week.
For me personally, that's one of those kind of games that I enjoy watching on other people's streams. I enjoy following the story, but they're not the kind of games that I play. The one game that really stuck out to me was the Mud Runner game, only because it led me to discover There's a whole series of games in which you just pick up payloads, like loads of stuff, and you just travel across like icy, icy tundras and horrible road conditions, and you have to make these expeditions. But this game right here is more about exploring and filling out a map. So it's not really the exact same genre, but that was just really funny to me that people actually play that kind of game.
Oh yeah, Moderner.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
Mud
yeah.
Runner, and then there's one that's called Snow Runner as well.
Yeah, Snow Runner is gonna. I think Moderner is the newer one, right? You know what? At first time I saw it, I actually thought it was before the title reveal. I thought they were gonna come out with like was it Ghost Recon? You know how Wildlands, how that was set up. It almost looked like that at first glance.
Let's notice a trend here. It seems like a lot of these life simulating type games are very, very popular right now. These games that kind of simulate you doing one or two things, and they make a
Thief
whole
Simulator,
Yeah.
Grocery Store Simulator.
Yeah,
Power Wash Simulator. I remember that one.
yeah. There seems to be a growing market and a growing trend for this. I'm curious where that'll go. In the coming years, will it just die off, or will there be more like,
You think
because everyone remembers Ace Combat back in the day. That was a game that was hella fun. So I would love to see a series like that come back.
you think these kind of games are like ASMR?
Probably.
They like scratch an itch in people's brains, a very specific itch.
Yeah, I think so. I think.
Go ahead, Jim.
I think it's one of those things where people are just looking to, kill some time. They're not looking to really immerse themselves in a story, immerse themselves in some PvP, PvE. They just want to push buttons. And
It's low commitment. Low commitment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. I can definitely see that. It's funny that none of you guys actually mentioned 2K24. No WWE fans? That's
I'm
crazy.
not a WWE fan.
That's
I've never been a
crazy,
fan.
bro. I'm not really a fan though. I kind of grew out of it. Like as a kid, I was super into like WWE, but eventually I kind of grew out of it, bro. So
They dropped that UFC care package, and I was like, yo, I've never.
Guys, here recently that the WWE YouTube channel just recently got, was it 20 million followers or something like that? And apparently there's a
That's
special
crazy.
diamond plaque for that, and they just recently, they're one of only 9 people in the world that have it.
yeah, I think Markiplier has one. Not Markiplier. PewDiePie. PewDiePie should have one. Mr. Beats definitely has one. There's
Mr.
a
Beast
few.
has every plaque possible.
Everyone, and he has multiple channels. So if 8 people have those, I'm pretty sure he has 6 out of the 8.
Probably.
He has so many channels. Yeah, that dude's doing this thing though as a content creator, bro. Hats off to him.
Challenge accepted, chat. We want to get there. Get
Right.
20 million of your friends come and sign up for our YouTube channel, so we can get one of those.
Right. All right, so let's switch things up. Let's get to the main topics of this episode. What do you guys
Very nice.
think about the whole Helldivers 2 update?
Well, Helldivers 2, they just had their first real balance patch over this past week to 2 weeks, and the unit has gone ablaze with it. So apparently they nerfed all of the top meta weapons, like the shotgun and all those different weapons. They brought mechs into the mechs. Apparently they're on that. And Talk also, apparently they did some nerfs to the robots. Apparently they were saying how their MP might be too high and stuff like that. So they've been balancing that out a little bit from what I've read. So but apparently that has caused a lot of issues with the community of the sweaty meta players versus just the casual audience. And the devs have outspoken, and they've been saying that all the meta players stop your griping and just get good, and then the meta players are
Hey,
Figure out
good.
something better.
Right.
in COD. Dude, go back to play COD. We don't want you.
Right. Bro, it still blows my mind that people are still cheating in the Helldivers 2, bro.
That's so lame.
not even a PvP game. What do
It's
you have
not-
to gain
For
from
cheating.
cheating? Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. But for me personally, I think you could say I'm a casual player, and I haven't really seen the issue so far. But maybe it's because I'm such a low level so I'm not like
Same.
super into the game. So I haven't seen the differences of the patch so far. So
The
if
mechs,
anybody
though.
else, the mechs are dope. The
I'm
mechs are
excited
dope.
for that.
What I don't
The
get
mechs
is
are already there, Heartless. They dropped.
No, yeah, I know. I'm excited to try it out.
Yeah, they're
what
dope.
I don't get is it's a PVE game, so
Mhm.
you're playing with your friends.
Mhm.
So essentially, you're not soloing this game. No one is soloing this game, So
Right.
like builds in general really don't mean anything. So like you rise and fall as a group. It's not like
Right.
it's not like the days of the arcade where there's a screen that pops at the beginning and tells you who you're
Nah.
better than everyone else. This game is
Nah.
not like that. It's not
No.
that kind of game.
Whoever it is just wants to be the top player in that room at that point in time. So he technically wins because he got all the kills and he did all the missions and he did all the side stuff and all this bullshit. That's what he wants. But relax, bro. It's a team game.
It's just for the clout, and to be honest,
Yeah.
like if what matters to you that you're the best Helldiver out there, you have other areas of your life you need to analyze. That you want to be the best Helldiver,
Yo,
like
fact.
go get
Mm-hmm.
like
Get your
some
priorities
grass.
straight, my G. Like, listen, get your priorities straight. That's what it is. Speaking of mechs, what
Uh,
do you guys think of the mechs?
I personally have not played the mechs. I haven't actually touched the game in it since the mechs came out, but
Mm-hmm.
I have watched all you guys' streams, and they
Mm-hmm.
look really, really, really cool.
Yeah.
Like I'm a huge fan of RoboCop, and it has that vibe feel to it, like
Yeah.
Avatar and all that stuff. So it looks really cool. It just looks fun to be able
You
to.
got to be level
move.
25 for it. And
Yeah.
it takes 20,000. It's priced at 20,000, and you got to be level 25.
Mm-hmm.
But for a limited time, you can for one time per mission, you can pop one out,
Yep.
and then after that permit expires, you need to buy it at level 25 before you can use it.
I think it's pretty cool. I don't use it as much because I was kind of like going hard at getting the rover. I really wanted the rover and I got it, and now every mission I have a rover that I'm playing with. So that's my biggest thing right now. I don't really care for the mechs. The mechs are cool. Don't get me wrong, the mechs are cool, but
I got a rocket launcher and a machine gun. So
Mhm.
I really like
if
the
you're into that
idea of
style
it.
of play,
Mm-hmm.
I really like the idea of it as like if you're getting someone into the game and maybe they're like the ultimate casual, you can just give them the mech and
Right. But they still have
they
to be
can,
at a certain level to get it though at that point. But probably unless you're talking about just this weekend, but you can't just hop in and get a mech.
lower that a little bit
Huh?
so that you could have someone that maybe doesn't play the
Oh,
game regularly and just want to stand up with them.
that
It would be
makes
great
sense.
if they did.
I understand what you're saying now. Yeah, that makes sense. It's like, so if you are at a certain level and you got someone to come in, you could call in a mech and then just have them do their thing.
You
Yeah,
could
it
call
makes sense.
me ultimate casual. You could really say that. Like I've put about 3 or 4 hours in the game total. Don't come for me, chat.
Same.
But the game is hella fun, and that would be a person that would want to have the mech
I
because
think I have more. I have more hours than you guys. Then
You probably
for sure.
yeah.
I put all my time in Street Fighter, so.
Oh yeah, because recently, can I announce it, Heartless?
Yeah, you can announce it. Absolutely.
Heartless just signed up for Evo 2024, so he needs to get his ass in training.
Seriously, my schedule is gonna look very bland.
Jerry's
we're definitely rooting for you, bro.
I appreciate
Jerry
that.
for top 8. Let's go.
Right?
I'm gonna be labbing out every matchup. I'm gonna be thinking about every single move. I'm gonna have a list. I'm gonna have a page for each character. Break down the moves: cancelable, non-cancelable. Is it reactable, non-reactable? I'm gonna try to figure this out.
Is there any like patch updates that are gonna happen before Evo? You guys know?
For season 2.
The year of the game is on June 2nd. So Evo is July 19th
to 21st.
Mm-hmm.
So most likely, we'll be about a couple months.
We'll be in season 2 by then, and there'll be a new patch, and I will have to study. But you know what? That shakes up the landscape for everybody. So whoever studies the most will have the most advantage.
Yep, for sure.
With Akuma probably coming out around May, probably. So I wonder how they'll touch up Akuma. Will Akuma even get a nerf? Will there be
I don't think if he's like a new. I don't think he's gonna. He's probably safe from like any kind of nerfs. To be honest, It all depends on like how powerful he drops when he gets released.
Well, the legacy of Akuma is he always drops overpowered. So
He's a glass cannon though. At the end of the day, Akuma's a glass cannon, so he's gonna be
But
powerful as shit, but he's not gonna have any life bar.
I just hope that it's not going to be like 5 out of the top 8 are all Akumas. I hope
That
we
would
don't
be
get that,
lame.
You know,
That'd be insane.
that would be. So
Yeah.
But the game overall, I'd say, is very balanced, and I think Akuma is going to be balanced. Akuma is going to be strong, but the game overall is so balanced that I think Akuma won't be like the beast he's been in previous games.
Okay.
Overall, Capcom has surprised me personally with how well they've taken care of the game.
Right. But
I
I
don't
think
agree with the money spending, and I don't agree with the battle pass. It's kind of lame, and the microtransactions and all that, and making you buy extra coins just to buy one skin that you're forced to buy 2 skins. I don't agree with all that, but in terms of the state of the game, they have kept the game pretty healthy, if you ask me, and fair.
That's what I appreciate the most is they've taken that stand. It reminds me so much of the arcade era where I go to the arcade and it's the same game every time. No matter if I go 1 month or 2 years from now, it's always the same game. And I appreciate the work that I put into the game will last for a while instead of like Mortal Kombat or other games.
That's a hot take, you know.
You watch it every couple months, and you know the work you put in may not be relevant. You know, I don't like that. You know.
right.
I understand why, but I personally don't like it. I like being able, instead of demanding a developer nerf something, I want to be able to find the solution in my character. There always is a solution. You just got to put in the work, you know, and it takes time to figure that out, at least for me. So
Right.
I like that approach.
Yeah.
I feel Capcom is kind of breaking the mold in that sense. Kind of just keeping the people be like, hey, just calm down. At a year, we'll reassess and we will balance what only needs to be balanced for the health of the community, not because you're complaining about it, you know?
I think they made it an effort this time around, especially since recently they came out and apologized for like Street Fighter 5. Like sometime this year, they made like this statement about apologizing for the state of SF5 and how it kind of underperformed at the beginning. But overall, I feel like they did. So I think they really wanted to make sure that Street Fighter 6 is that big they're making up for Street Fighter 5. And I'm really enjoying the state of the game currently. You're right. I really am.
If you look at the finished product of Street Fighter 6, if you look at like the whole game as a whole, you can tell they've been working on this since probably season 3 of Street Fighter 5. Look at Ed. Ed dropped. He's essentially the first modern control character. Now modern controls are the standard in the game. And then you have the music. Ed's theme song has words. What other Street Fighter characters had words in their theme song? You know, now like all the music has words. You know, so and the style of the music, the style of everything. It feels like they've been working on this since probably Street Fighter 3. You know, season 3 or earlier, and it finally is here. You can just tell, and with Luke being in season 7 or 6 or whatever.
Yeah.
And when the balance, I just hope, you know, please don't let Marissa get too nerfed. Please, she needs to stay strong. She needs to have high damage and give her an OD wake up. That's the only thing I ask of Capcom.
Whoa! She don't need a buff. Whoa!
She needs an OD wake up. She does.
Hold up.
Be on this subject all night.
Yeah, this just in. There has been leaks of new suits for Helldivers 2.
Yeah, this Street Fighter conversation can happen all night long. Let's not get too lost.
So I'll share this with the stream as well. You guys can see what we're looking at right now. You guys might not be able to see it. You might have to pull up my stream, but it's on X. Helldivers 2 new suits, as according to TCMF Games. I don't know who that is exactly, but they just said Helldivers 2 new suits, weapons, and strategy booster leaks. New suits have leaked for Helldivers 2. This is not a part of the upcoming update on March 14th. 2 of the suits have names and details: CM06 Combat Medic, middle left. Oh, so they actually have a design for it. It's right here. So there is the middle left would be the I think this is the medic. Yo, this one looks sick. He looks like friggin' Cyrex from Mortal Kombat. Good lord.
All right.
So,
Cool.
it's really cool that it seems like they're putting a lot of work in getting content into this game.
Yes.
And remember last week when I said, Helldivers, it's crazy because like it's a PvE game. How can you keep playing this game over and over again? Like, how do you get that replayability? And there it is. There's your answer. It's the fact that they keep working on content.
It's always changing. It's ever changing.
It's always changing. Yeah.
Ever evolving.
This
Yeah, we literally just said it earlier before the podcast. We did.
Yeah, I love the way the game is kind of giving you this game, you versus the engine kind of game, and literally that's the best live service. It literally feels like you're playing a virtual version of a tabletop game. It's so different every time,
right?
And you may not play out the same way every time, and I think that's awesome.
All right, so let's check out the suits here. So it says 2 of the suits have names and details. CM Combat Medic, the one I just mentioned. There's also Groundbreaker. I don't know what that means. Far left. Let's see which one's the far left. Is that the yellow one or this one over here? No idea. But anyways, Groundbreaker. A lot of new guns. Again, people take this with a grain of salt. Shout out to Cubes. Yes, y'all need to take this with a grain of salt because we don't know exactly when this is gonna drop. But that
pic looked official though.
It looks official. It definitely does look official. I don't think that this is a made-up picture.
Link here, and
if that's a made-up picture, shout out to that guy. We need to hire him.
Right? Shoguns, breaker nail spitter, a modified breaker shotgun offering improved armor penetration and accuracy and exceptionally high levels of recoil. Okay, so this is a breaker with high recoil, pretty much. Bug biter, heavier version of the breaker. So this there's a bunch of like breaker modified versions. Here, marksman rifle, adjudicator, AR-20L Justice. I'm gonna post this in our Discord. I could also post it in the chat here if you guys want to read more about this. But this is actually pretty fire. There's a lot here, bro. There's a lot of them here.
I like how they're going the cosmetic route. If you're paying for cosmetics and advantages, you're not actually screwing over another player. So you're just playing the game.
Exactly. But what they're gonna do is just make the games harder. Just make the enemies harder.
That's true too.
Anyone
who's played Dungeons and Dragons knows where I'm going with this. You have this overlord person, and depending on how strong the players are getting, the DM will up the level of character. They'll adjust to make the game fun. Ultimately, the goal is fun. They're not trying to screw you over. They're trying to make it fun.
All right.
And this game is mastering that. It really is.
Bro, when did this game come out?
Helldivers 2 earlier this year. January.
Is it? No, I think it wasn't January. I think it was in February. And if it's in February, and I feel like we're constantly getting new updates and news and so many things happening about. I don't know what these guys are doing, but they're doing a hell of a good job. It's crazy.
They are maintaining. They are doing what other live service games have failed to do. Is the momentum that they've gained right from the start. Halo Infinite comes to mind, Overwatch 2, all these COD, all these different games. They start off with these big audiences and they don't push content out quick enough, and then they
just fizzle out. Yeah, and I think they're constantly doing things to create intrigue too, especially with this whole Joel situation, right? But the first time I heard about Joel, I'm like, get the fuck out of here! Are you serious? That's dope. You know.
That is a major selling point for me. The fact that they can make it harder or easier depending on how things are going. If something's too hard, they'll pull it back. If something's too easy, then they'll just tweak the difficulty a little bit. I really, really think that's great, just from a fun perspective. That it's not. You don't just like Dark Souls. You're not just hitting a boss and just hitting this wall that you can't get by. Right. They're gonna adjust, modify it a little bit to give you a reason to keep coming back. And I think that's brilliant game development. hands off to these developers, like really.
But people
Hands
are
off
mad though.
Univision and
For what?
executing
What are
it.
people mad for?
They're mad at the railgun got nerfed and it doesn't pierce the armor of the bigger things anymore.
But
And now
apparently
people
they're lowering the difficulty of those players. But continue, my
Well, in
bad.
a team-based game,
No,
that
no,
means you
no.
just have to
You
squad up.
got
You
it.
can't just like Rambo it. That's all that means.
Yeah,
You gotta be strategic. I agree.
that's it.
And
Yeah.
Um,
That's
complete side note from you guys. I recently posted this today on Twitter, right? These are some of the worst games. Before I don't know if y'all saw that already. Let me skip that. What do you guys think is the worst game of the year so far? And
I can't answer that.
I know a lot of people are gonna say Suicide Squad killed the Justice League.
Oh yeah, there you go. That's my answer.
A lot of people are gonna say that. Germ, what about you? Before, don't even look. Don't peek. No peeking, Germ.
well, I can't recall the name right now, but it's like
Uh,
Take No Deaths, or I forget the name of it. But it was a game that came out
What
and
the
it
fuck?
flopped so hard recently. To Another Day, or I forget the title of it, but apparently that game was so bad that apparently it closed. The service closed 6 days later.
Yeah?
If anyone knows the name of it, please drop it in the chat. Hold on.
How
here.
bad do you
I
have
know
to
it.
be?
Bro, all right.
not
So
last
I'm gonna
6
reveal.
days.
I'm gonna reveal that to you all right now. So these
Sure.
are the worst games of 2024 so far. It goes with War Hospital, which is at 67. This is also coming from Metacritic. I pull all the information from Metacritic. So War Hospital 64. Go Mecha Ball 96. Slave Zero X 68. Graven 66. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League 60. Skull and Bones 60. Foam Stars 59. Silent Hill Short Message 51. And last but definitely least, Jujutsu Kaisen Curse Clash. That's the worst game of the year so far at 44.
From such a good anime?
Right. But it's
Is
just the
it
style.
an arena fighter? Is
No.
it an arena fighter?
Yes, it is.
Oh my god.
Of course it is.
I don't like the arena fighters.
I don't like them. I just can't get into them. I had a friend recommend it to me before, and I was like, I wanted to check it out, but I just can't get into them because I just never liked them.
Hold on.
Mhm.
You don't like arena fighters?
I don't.
Okay, see, listen,
Let's come across one that's good.
I've been saying this, but
Mhm.
I've always included the Budokai Tenkaichi series
Exactly.
in that
Exactly.
conversation, and
Exactly.
people are like, "Yo, you're just a hater.
No.
You're just a hater."
No, I don't like it either.
Bro, have you played DBFZ? Have you played DBFZ?
Bro. I do not like arena fighters. I just can't get into them, bro. I just can't because they just feel like a reskin of the game that came out before. That's exactly what it feels like. Jujutsu Kaisen looks like Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer looks like Naruto.
Let's take a step back for a moment. Let's define arena fighter, because if you like arena fighter, you have an arena, right? Sometimes you fight up in the sky, but for the most part, you're fighting in an arena and you're just kicking someone else's ass, right? I'm free to move around to wherever I want, right?
Yeah.
Sound like another game that's out there?
You're
Well.
thinking Tekken, but
Tekken 8 is essentially arena
no.
fighter.
So let me break this down.
Nah.
If you were to take Tekken 8,
I know.
and if you were to increase the
I'm just
speeds,
clapping. But I'm just saying, if you really want to go there, you could call.
hold on. If you were to take Tekken 8 and you were to increase the movement speeds of the characters, if you were to allow them to not be forced to lock onto each other, if you were to make the arenas much bigger, and if you were to give them the ability to fly, then yes, your point would stand very, very true. But it's like at some point, see, one of the things that makes a fighting game a real deal fighting game is its limited set of variables. It's things have to kind of be locked into a framework in which the players are kind of forced to go at it. And they don't have huge amounts of life where they can just fly around not thinking about their decisions. Players have to kind of be locked and incentivized to walk forward towards each other and hit each other. And arena fighters don't have that feeling for me.
So essentially, the definition of a true fighting game is limited movement options.
No. I just think that when a fighting game introduces too many variables, it kind of becomes almost something you can't lab. because you're not gonna ever see this scenario ever again. You know what I'm saying?
It's
Yeah,
randomized.
It's
that's been the
almost
argument against
randomized. It kind of
Yeah.
becomes a
forever.
non-replicatable type of situation. In Street Fighter and all other fighting games, you will run into the same exact scenario multiple times, and it
Right.
becomes something that you can kind of work with and deal with. But in arena fighters, I just feel like there's just too many movement variables that no scenario ever ends up being played out at the same time twice.
Yeah, and that's been the against the Smash community, at least when it first came out, is that was the big thing that held it back was, the movement and what you were just describing, and why it was not a fighting game. Things
See,
will
the
come
thing
around.
about Smash that I think makes it not a fighting game is that you're not forced to look at your enemy. You could turn around, and run away.
Right. Yeah, with fighting games, you
I
can't do
think
that.
You can't do that.
I
You can't
think
do that.
what
For traditional fighting
separates
games.
A traditional fighting game.
is items. That traditionally is what has separated Smash. Really, is the
You can play
items and
Smash with no items though.
multiple people on screen.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really a 1v1 game. You can make it that way at the competitive level, but from the casual level, it's not a 1v1.
Here's the
So that's
thing.
I
been
love
the
Smash though. I love Smash.
These games, like, I feel like Jujutsu Kaisen and all these games, they would have been dope had it been like an adventure game, an action adventure game. But as a fighting game, I just can't rock with it. I just can't.
When anime games, like, why do they keep doing this?
I don't know. It feels lazy.
Just
Hunter x
retell
Hunter,
the story of the anime, in like with a narrative and some gameplay at it, and that would be more than fine. I'd be more than satisfied.
Right.
But they keep doing this. I don't know why, but I think. But having not seen the anime, it's hard for me to say. But the anime does get a lot of hype.
it does
So
get a lot of
I'd be
hype.
willing to check it out. And this would be an entry point for someone like me, to check out the actual source anime.
Oh, I thought you mean to play the game. I'm like, you might play the game and end up hating the show.
Huh.
Well, like it could do that too. But but as long as at least it would be an entry point.
All right.
So
All right. Now let's get back to our main topics, please. That was just a very very large tangent. Activision QA forms a union. What do you guys think about that? Is that a good thing? How do you think that is going to impact the games industry moving forward?
Can I start this one?
Sure, go ahead.
go for it.
All right. So unions, I feel like on paper are a really, really cool thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the modern day generation is catching on to the fact that their labor is valuable, and I think that they want to protect it. I don't think people want to be abused at work. I think people want to have security and know that their work is valued, and that they're not going to have a boss who's going to tell them one thing and then restructure their job, and now they're working twice as much and they never get raised. Blah blah blah. And we understand that.
Right.
But the issue that I think can happen here is that sometimes unions protect people who should not be getting protected. I think if you are a poor developer and you're not putting out good quality work, then you should be removed. I don't think that you should be. I don't think your job should be protected. I think when you work in the media industry or you work in producing something, I think if you don't produce, your job is not guaranteed, or it shouldn't be guaranteed.
Right. Jerem, what do you think?
I echo similar what Heartless is saying. I think as Heartless said, unions sound good on paper, but usually the people that are asking for unions are not the people whose job that actually deserve it. They're hard to put that bluntly, but that's not always the case. But I also feel that with record layoffs that are happening, I think people are scared that they're potentially going to be next. And when we get into our next topic, we'll kind of see where that's going.
Okay.
But I think I would be aware, especially with this news coming out of Activision. Let's just look at the short history of Activision recently, where they had a huge case where the state of California sued them over, sexual misconduct with their company.
Bobby Kotick.
And overall, the layoffs that have happened this year, almost 8,000. and just the overall lack of quality that Blizzard Activision has put out with COD and Diablo and all these different games recently.
Mm-hmm.
And QA people that are asking to unionize, for me, that's automatically a red flag right there. That these people that have probably not been living up to the quality standards that we as gamers demand out of Activision, they're the ones acting for a union. So that's a red flag for me right there. So I would want to know why these people feel like they need to have their job protected. And if they're not, as Heartless said, if they're not doing it, bring in other people, create opportunities for people like us, people in the chat who actually do want to see Blizzard put out good games again. And give them a chance to shine and enter the industry, because unions are really tough. Once you get them unionized in a job, it's really hard to fire people that may or may not. You're protect, like Heartless said, you're protecting a person that may or may not need to be protected.
That's true. I agree.
So
I should rephrase that. I should rephrase that. I think once you unionize people, I think people now get this sense of I'm untouchable, and that is the fine line of, do we want to protect people or do we want to turn them into untouchable pricks?
Well, in the case of Activision, that sexual case thing that was coming again, that was a culture thing in their job environment that had to be purged for the company to continue. And imagine if people like that would have been protected by unions. The case probably wouldn't have even gone that far or even been exposed.
But to that extent, I feel like the union, it had to be some stipulation within the union for that. No, you don't think so?
Maybe not. It's hard to say, because unions, they tend to block. They tend to keep those investigations internalized and they don't publicize it. So we may have never even known about it. So I worked for AT&T and I worked for a telecom union, and they would do that kind of stuff. They would keep everything very hush hush. Everything was handled internally. People were removed. They weren't allowed to talk about it. So it was just like, yeah, sure, to protect the individual, but at what cost?
Right.
It would be nice to know if you were sitting next to someone that may have had be a snake in the grass.
Interesting segue. But before we continue, though, Bobby Kotick, he just recently has interest in acquiring TikTok for some reason. It's him and some other buyer. I don't remember who the buyer was, but I saw that earlier today. And I was like, that's interesting.
Bobby Cox, you said?
Bobby Kotick, the former CEO of Activision.
Yeah, he got removed.
He got removed. He basically got a payout and left Activision. That's what happened.
Yep. Well, that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother time. I don't want too much into that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's a person that shouldn't be owning TikTok, if you ask me.
Yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, I feel like this whole union thing, in my personal opinion, I think it's probably a good thing, because especially I feel like the games industry is so volatile, bro, and they can let people off at a moment's notice without warning. And I think people have the right to have their positions in their jobs, right? And it just feels unfair for them to be taken advantage of like that. Like, you can just tell people to just leave and nothing can happen, nothing can come out of that. Like, no, I don't think that's fair.
Question though.
Yeah.
Will companies just start hiring contractors instead of employees?
They probably would.
Yeah,
they probably would.
Contract work would be great, and it kind of bridges the gap between unionization and demanding quality out of what you're doing. You would only renew the contract if you're getting the quality.
Yes, the incentivization aspect of it, right? Yep.
It's kind of like if I go get my or AT&T and their prices get too high, or they screw me over, or if their customer service isn't helpful, I'll end when the contract ends, I'll go to Sprint, or Sprint even still around. I'll go to Verizon or whatever, Yeah. And I like that form of business instead, because you're not locking people into long term.
So it's
individual like
50-50 when I think about it now, right? Because it could still come back down to the same situation. Like that man, Bobby Kotick exploited his position, right? They can pretty much do the same thing with contractors and basically tell them, hey, if you don't, or if you shut up, you can probably get you can sign another contract. If that makes sense. So
Well, and
that's how I look at it.
let's also look at the idea of unionizing QA people. I understand the idea of needing QA people, but we live in an
Not
era of live
necessarily
service.
even QA. I'm not even talking about only QA. I'm just talking about other divisions within the games industry.
Well, that's where I stand. Is that I would not recommend QA being unionized. Other aspects of game development, absolutely, like
Yeah.
artists and graphic artists and
Right.
people like that. Sure, absolutely, but not necessarily QA, because we live in a world of live service games where how else to get better QA development other than alpha and beta testing? Put it in the hands of the people that
You are
actually
trying to market to, yeah.
and you'll get, you'll get straight from the horse's mouth how a game is doing. I think you are a Ubisoft partner, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like
Yeah,
get it
pretty much the
straight
same
from-
thing.
Not even that way, but like the one thing I gotta give Blizzard, is that they have a PTR, a public test realm. Before they release a patch, they put it out in a public test realm. They see opinions, but I will say this though, they do fumble every balance patch, but they have the system. They
Right.
have the system.
Yeah. So exactly. So why are we protecting people who eventually, when it reaches us, it sucks anyway? In the QA realm anyway. That's, it raises a lot of questions for me. I'm sorry, but Blizzard has really lost its benefit of the doubt
They lost their edge.
Yeah.
You know?
I see people trying to blame Xbox for that, but I feel like Blizzard has been going down before even the acquisition, to be honest.
I think
Facts.
Microsoft stepped in when Activision.
Yeah, because
started
apparently
having-
they were facing issues.
Yeah.
That's the only way Xbox was able to purchase them. Like, think about it. If they were on top of their game, they could not. They probably wouldn't be able to acquire them.
Yeah, they would not have been able to afford Blizzard before because just
Exactly.
the name brand alone.
Exactly.
Now they could because it dropped. The public perception dropped so much.
So, yeah, like we were talking about prior to the podcast starting, Jerm. What was the biggest game to come out of EA last year?
EA last year?
Yeah, what's the biggest game to come out of EA last year?
Well, other than the 2K games.
No, 2K. That's a different company. That's not thing.
The Dead Space remake.
Dead Space remake. That was last year. I don't think so.
Oh. Battlefield, perhaps.
Battlefield come out last year. The biggest game to come out of EA last year was Star Wars Jedi Survivor.
That game was fire.
Yeah, it was. It was a lot of fun.
That was on Xbox Game Pass, right? Because that's the game I'm thinking about. It had
that's the first one was on Game Pass.
what was the first one called?
Jedi Survivor.
Fallen
Jedi
Order.
Survivor, yeah.
Fallen Order was the
You're
first
talking
one.
about Jedi Survivor.
Jedi Survivor was the second one. Fallen Order was sick. It was ill. But I just realized that I was confusing two studios. I said EA and we were talking about Activision, but nevertheless.
Yeah.
My mind was still on the EA situation.
Yeah. So I think Activision has got a lot of problems in its hands.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think QA unionizing is one of them. They have other problems that they need to deal with and protect. I think they need fresh blood in their industry, in their company to really right the ship. And sometimes this is the only way. I've worked in restaurants. Heartless, you work in a restaurant. Sometimes when you lose the reputation and the quality of your restaurant, the only thing you can do is bring in new staff to cleanse and bring in new ownership.
Or even new management.
New management. Sometimes new management is just there to signify some kind of change, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And sometimes you have to wipe the slate clean to move forward. And that's an old trick in restaurants where even though it may be owned by the same people, they rebrand under a new name, and it's essentially everything's the same. It's just a new name, and all customers think it's new, so they're willing to give it another chance.
Right.
So restaurants do it all the time. So the gaming industry should not be immune. It should not.
Yeah.
So,
but I think there still should be more regulation within the gaming industry. So
and
overall, for me, I think this is a good thing. Unionizing is a good thing.
One last note to say on that is it says in the article that you gave us to read, it says that QA workers for Activision Blizzard are spread among California, Texas, and Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 3 states. Different states have different unionization laws. So that right there is already a challenge that I don't know if unions would be able to deal with.
Right.
So, yeah, so that would be, not that it's impossible, but...
Yeah, they just so they formed the union. Who knows what they have to face, like, challenges during like the setup of all of those organizations. Because I'm pretty sure it's gonna be probably one organization, but like have different aspects of it throughout each state. So, yeah. Former CEO. Let's switch over. Former CEO of Xbox, Peter Moore, on next gen. He's basically saying he's not sure what's gonna happen to next gen games. What do you guys think about that? I'll start with you, Jerm.
Well,
based
upon the article that you gave us, the guy kind of laid it out that he thinks hardware is kind of dead, and he thinks that the sales overall are spiraling, and he thinks everything seems to be going in a digital direction, which makes a lot of sense.
It does.
To what we've seen in recent months and in the last couple of years. But the main takeaway I get from this is the fact that Xbox has finally just thrown up their hands and said, we're done with hardware, it feels. Even the next CEO...
I don't think so. I don't personally think Xbox is done with Arthur. They already said they're working on the new Xbox.
This will be the best ever.
Right.
I don't really know how to take this from a direction where what is the next console going to be? Is it going to be kind of like Nintendo's direction where it's not super powerful and it's just feature based, Or is it going to be, we're going to continue to try to have these PC level, gaming consoles that are trying to compete with PCs when why just get a PC,
Right.
I think that if the gaming direction is going to go to user friendly features overall, like Nintendo has carved out for themselves. Nintendo has never been the most powerful console at any point ever. Maybe Nintendo 64 was, but that was a hell long time ago. So, and even then, the Dreamcast came out right away.
Yeah,
almost right away.
Go ahead.
What if Microsoft started putting apps on their product?
Yeah.
And like you would even like as far as to go as like Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, and then these things kind of become closer to being what a PC is. Like almost imagine like an iPad as opposed to having a Mac, but your iPad is powerful enough to play games. It's kind of like that. They could be like miniature PCs, but they play games. That could be a way to bridge the gap, because the one thing I'm seeing, the trend that I'm seeing is when you buy a PC, at some point you say to yourself, for a lot of people, at some point you say to yourself, why would I buy a console? My PC can do all this.
And they just employed basically the Surface team to create the new Xbox. So, because it's not the same developers that created the Xbox Series X. They're not the ones working on the new next gen console. It's the Surface team. So I'm not really sure what to expect from them, but I heard a lot of people say that Microsoft just didn't know what to do with Surface. So they're just trying to figure out where to really put them, and that's why they're kind of pushing them towards gaming.
So allow me to drop a quote here from the former Xbox CEO. It's kind of a lengthy one, but I'll sum it up as best I can. He said, "What I'm saying is that the questions are being asked as they've been for the last 20 years. Are we ready to gird our loins financially for battle and all the cost of development? What is it that a PS6 can do that a PS5 can't that would make people jump from PS5 to an Xbox? Same with Switch, right? God forbid it's just incremental." And I think that the companies are also looking at that. What what can we do to extend this life cycle? So what I take away from that quote is consoles are already really strong. So why do we keep pushing them out every few years? I think they're trying to extend the lives of the current consoles. And they're trying to figure out, do we reach new consoles or do we just extend the lives of our current consoles because they already are so powerful?
Right.
Or do we, they're trying to decide what is the right course and what is the best financial option. And the way Xbox has performed lately, I think they are just washing their hands of the console generation, of this console generation, and maybe they'll come up with something way later, but not till there's like reasonably large expectation of upgrade.
I feel like a lot of this is playing is obsolescence though. Like a lot of these, especially since PlayStation just recently announced, like their take is that PS5 is on its last legs. Basically, it's on its last like few years of its life cycle. And I'm like, this game is not even. Is it 5 years yet since the PS5 has come out? I don't think so. It's been 3 years. And it's already on, and it's already on its last legs. I don't think so. No, they said that.
At least,
yeah,
I think. But I really think it comes down to the growth of the PC space in gaming. The more PC grows, the less incentive there is to buy and don't even have a console. The only thing that is beneficial to have a console, and hear me out on this point, is what makes console stand out to PC is the plug and play nature of it.
Right.
I plug it into a TV and it'll work. When it comes to PC, it's not like that. You have to like have all the stuff to go with it. You have to maybe build it, get a pre-built, whatever, and then you have to like install the games, and you have to get all the settings working. You have to make sure you have the right cooldown. You have to have all this stuff, and that's kind of complicated for the average day user. So that is the only thing I could say that would keep consoles going from this point is the plug and play nature, and that's probably the big selling point right now.
Not only that, I think consoles are the entry level for gamers. So I think that's why it's not going to go anywhere. A lot of kids starts off with console as being their first like dive or first dip into gaming, and then eventually they'll build their own PC or whatever. That's what
that's true for our generation, and it is. That's true for our generation. But that's because I feel like when we were growing up as kids, PCs weren't playing games like the way. So we only knew of consoles. But this generation, I see a lot of kids talking about PCs.
Yeah,
it's the RGB lighting. It's the RGB lighting, man.
Well, Heartless, to your point, yes, they're talking about PCs, but they don't know the actual beast of what it is to actually have a PC. The maintenance of it, the cleaning of it, the cooling down of it, keeping hard drive. They don't know these things. They're kind of speaking maybe a little ignorant of it because they don't know the full beast of what it is to maintain and have a PC.
I firmly believe if the console were to behave more like a PC in terms of like having a web browser, you can download apps such as like Discord, Netflix, eBay, Amazon. You can download like legit apps and like you can pretty much use it at the same level as like if you were to compare an iPad to a MacBook. Like the iPad doesn't have all of the features that a MacBook has, but it has enough where you can like go to college with it, and you can go grab one of those for a lower price than you grab a MacBook. Now, imagine if future consoles are like $800, but they operated 85% like a damn PC, and you don't have to spend $1,500 to make that happen. I can see that being the niche that keeps people buying consoles.
Yeah, I agree with you there, Heartless.
An all-out entertainment, education, video game system.
You don't get a monitor with that. You don't get, the other stuff that goes, that you would need. And also, another big holding back with that is I can have a super powerful console, but if I don't have the most modern TV, I'm not getting the most
monitor.
benefit.
Even a monitor nowadays.
A good monitor would suffice, though.
That's the counterpoint to consoles. There is when you buy a PC, you get everything, but you have to know how to use it and optimize it. So it's kind of, I feel like PCs have a stronger learning curve. That's gonna, until that gets really sorted out and becomes more user friendly. That's gonna always hold back PC until it becomes like, I have a car, but all I do is hop in the car and I turn the key. But if there's a problem with the car, who do I take it to? I take it to a mechanic. The mechanic figures it out. So until there's a structure like that firmly in place, and that could be our generation, all we have to do is make it happen. There's a whole line of businesses, that could be opened up to us if we just did it. Use our expertise to guide people that want to be on PC, and then when they turn to us, and you can make a whole business around that. I support that, but I think
like
that's
there's I think there's
the
PC. I don't think you're ever going to simplify the PC, in my opinion. That's just my takeaway from all of this.
'cause
PC is
as
just
PC
always.
You
It,
could popularize pre-builts, in which we have been doing.
yeah, you're right. You're right.
We're seeing more of those going out.
Well, yeah, that means you get a console and you just plug it in. And when you get a PC and you start plugging in, you start using it. That's not where it stops with PC, unfortunately. Every time a new game comes out, you have to figure out how to optimize it so it'll run on your PC. You have to make sure you clean the vents regularly. You have to, upgrade certain
That
elements.
will get
so
sorted
things
out.
will even run. And that is not just a plug and play situation with PCs. It's not. It'll probably never be that way. Just getting like
You
an
don't think
extra
so?
attachment to a PC requires a lot of messing around sometimes.
A lot of maintenance. The PC is
A lot of
very high
maintenance.
maintenance.
That may not be accessible to the everyday person. And the answer to that is a support system surrounding it. Like someone to call to help you. Like if you have a problem with your cell phone, you just call someone and they help you. At least that's how it used to be.
For the most
I'm
part, people
sure-
have Micro Center.
I was gonna say, I'm
Yeah.
sure people can get memberships to places like Best Buy or Micro Center, and every few
Oh.
months, if they want to go bring the stuff in for a touch up or make sure things is good.
So as long as consoles maintain that plug and play connectivity, I think they'll always have an edge up on PC. But if consoles decided to go more towards PC element side of things, they would have to develop that support system to help the everyday man. So I'd be curious to see what direction it goes. It could go either way. It could go both ways. But I think plug and play is probably going to be the future because people don't want to think about what they're buying and how to set it up. They just want to plug it in and it work. that's just the average.
There's truth there, yeah,
absolutely.
So
Yeah. I really don't think consoles are going anywhere. I don't think they're going anywhere.
I stand by my original statement. I think consoles will just be feature based and not necessarily graphical based. They'll take Nintendo's route. They're not going to be graphical beasts to say that they're more powerful than anything else. It's going to be largely feature based, and that's going to be what sells it. Don't be surprised when the next Xbox comes out and there's no graphical upgrade. Don't be surprised. It'll just have more bells and whistles. Don't be surprised.
One thing I'll say
That
though,
would be crazy.
I do agree with what Peter Moore said about the whole incremental upgrades. That's true. It feels like what iPhone does with their phone every year. I feel like you have people that will buy the latest iPhone every single year, and they'll tell you all the specs it has, but you'll look at it and you don't see the difference between both phones, right? And that's one of the reasons why I don't even upgrade my phones for at least for 3 years. I don't upgrade my
Same.
phone for at least 3 years because it doesn't make
4
sense.
years.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense for you to.
I have an
keep
iPhone 11
upgrading.
right now.
Yeah, I still have an 11. Yeah. Huh?
For like 5 years.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and
So because you don't
something that
need
it
to.
does would need to upgrade.
You don't need to upgrade. So I don't understand why they would say the PlayStation is in its latter years. It's crazy to me to think about, bro. But it just sounds like they're rushing to get to next gen. But to what end? Why? What's the purpose of you rushing to get to next gen? You understand? I don't know what it is. I don't know what the
Imagine
end
if
game is.
Imagine if the new GTA don't work on these consoles.
Yeah, because apparently there's a rumor that the PlayStation. What is it? The PlayStation, the Ultimate. Is that what they call it? The newer version, the PlayStation 5 Ultimate or whatever the fuck they want to call that, is rumored to be dropping this holiday season, so around Christmas time. So it could drop alongside or closer to the release date of GTA. I don't know how true that is, so that's just what I've heard.
Last kind of thing I would say to close that out, if we're ready to move on, would be look at the way PlayStation 5 games looked when they first came out to what they are now.
Mm-hmm.
It probably could be debatable if there's a big upgrade there. It's very, very similar, right? Mm-hmm. So I think it's got a pretty big life left in it. It's probably got at least 5 to 6 years.
Any new PS5, any new PS5 that comes out, I feel like it's gonna be more of like a revision, like what they usually do. Like every 5 years, they'll make like a revised version that's very smaller and that's the only thing I can think of. But like to say that you are looking to kind of just go to next gen, I think it's crazy. It's crazy. This game has a lot more years in it, bro.
Times now that I don't need huge, beautiful cinematics to get me to play a game.
No, I don't.
Very small amount of the game I'm actually going to be playing. So the user experience is going to make or break if I come back to that game or not. So think of Helldivers. It's the user experience that keeps bringing you back. Mm-hmm. And, it's not the graphical quality. It's the user experience that keeps bringing you back. And, games are going to probably take a little bit of a step back graphic-wise to sell you a more usable and long-lived live service experience.
Mm-hmm.
Like the game I shouted out earlier.
I feel like there's a lot of people, though. Say again? Go ahead.
So if we're asking our consoles to last... no, we're asking the lifespan of the console's existence to last like 10, 11 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the console itself only lasts like 8 years, and then in like your 8th year, you're forced to buy a new one, and then 2 years later, the next generation console comes out. That is kind of a situation I would not like to find myself in, where they make the lifespan of the console outlast how long an actual individual console lasts.
No, so it's almost like you're saying it's overstaying its welcome to some extent.
Well, look, let's put it in perspective. Your PlayStation 5 lasts 8 years. Then you have to go buy one. It breaks. You buy one, right? And then 2 years later, the PlayStation 6 is being released. You're like, damn, bro, I just bought a second PlayStation 5.
Yeah, we do that with our phones already. Like, seriously. Like every, they're kind of small, integrable things now, but it used to not be like that. Remember, like when smartphones first became a thing, like the next more powerful iPhone literally came out, or next most powerful phone came out less than a calendar year every year. And you've always felt a little shafted whenever you bought one because they would announce the new thing later. I personally hated that. And I agree with Heartless there. And then I'm trying to on your point, Heart of Cash, where you were saying they'd come up with sort of newer versions of the same console every few years.
Mm-hmm.
That leans into what Heartless was saying. Like if I buy the 7 terabyte PlayStation 5, and then 2 years later, then the PlayStation 6 comes out, I'm gonna be pretty pissed off. And I personally don't want it to go that way. I hate that. I absolutely hate my PlayStation 5. Like they announced the Pro, and I had bought it like I've had it 2-3 years now, 2 Christmases ago. So, so now they announced that. I would have waited. If I would have waited, and then my first game would have been Street Fighter 6. But if I would have known that ahead of time, so. I don't see. It's really hard to say from a user. I personally am never sold with a game's graphics.
Chat, what do you guys think? I'll ask the chat. What do you guys think? Do you foresee consoles going on for at least another 10 years? At least.
How much life do you want to get out of your Xbox or your PlayStation?
No, I mean consoles in general. Breaks. Yeah, I'm talking about consoles in general though, not just like this specific generation? Just another multiple generations to come. Do you foresee more generations of consoles to come?
We'll see what they have to say about that.
Yeah,
Keep
let's
in
wait for
mind,
the
chat.
chat. Yeah, but before we
Okay.
get into that, this is also our question of the week. Should we be concerned about AI taking over the games industry? Which is going to actually lead into our closing conversation, which is EA CEO says 60% of development process could be positively impacted by AI. What are your takes on that? And I'm going to start with Germ. I want to hear what you have to say, and then Heartless, you can take it away.
You got it.
Okay, so AI, I personally have used AI in my college classes. They've actually encouraged us to use it for certain assignments, and other ones they encourage us not to use it. And
Mm.
I find AI the times I have used it to be very, very soulless, and it actually is very uninspiring to me. And so I would hate to see that kind of flatness that AI tends to generate actually be put into my video games. I think we talked about this game a couple of weeks ago. It was like that third first person game, and it had the magic. It didn't really pop out variants or something like that. That game looked like it was AI generated. It just felt very soulless, right?
What game?
I forget. It was a couple weeks ago. It was a game that was coming out, or
Oh, the
uh,
game that with the port
it was
keys
the
and all
first
that
person
shit.
magic.
It's called
It was
shit.
like
I
a
don't remember. We were talking
yeah.
about it. Yeah,
See,
the foreground, the environment was
I think it was Forspoken.
no, it wasn't
Um,
Forspoken. It's I'm gonna tell you guys in a second. I'm gonna have to
but
pull it up.
anyway, so
Mm-hmm.
that's the kind of stuff that I personally don't want. I personally don't like the AI could be used for. And I don't like the idea of AI being used to take people's jobs. I like the idea of AI being used solely as a way to do marketing projections and things like that, which is currently what it's largely used for. But from the artistic side of things, I do not want that in my video games. I'm sorry to say. I do not want that towards the artistic expression, character design, music. I don't want any of that stuff anywhere near the creation of my video games. That's
Mm.
just my take.
Heartless, what do you
I
think?
I think AI is gonna crush the barriers for entry. Obviously, it's not where it needs to be now. It's soulless, like he said, but in
Mm-hmm.
the future, I seen a thing recently. It said where you can type into an AI prompt for a game development, and it
Mm-hmm.
will spit out the code that you need to make your thing work. So in the future, when we get to a point where individuals at home are able to produce entire games because they have the creativity to do so, that's gonna it's the same way how programs and softwares like Fruity Loops, FL Studios allows people to be a musician, allowed everyone to be a musician. Now you
Yeah.
have tons of musicians who make music, release them on social medias, and then they end up getting fame or whatever it is, building entire careers off it. When 50 years ago, that would have been impossible for those very same people.
Mm. But
fair
all right.
enough.
So let me put things into kind of like focus things up for a second. Let's talk about specifically within the games industry. How do you guys see it benefiting like development studios?
The benefit would be cost cutting. That is the whole reason why companies want to go this route is to cut costs. They want to take
Yes,
labor out
but
of people's pockets.
we're also thinking about like developers. How do you think developers could benefit from that?
Well, mainly, like I said, the cutting costs, and that could keep games prices reasonable for us. To add on to like what Harless was saying, you take away a lot of the inspired work that is available online and other sources like that. And yeah, those artists are not getting paid, the due credit for the inspiration that they're providing, that algorithm. So it's a lot, there's a lot of issues there. Think about Toriyama and the impact he's had on the anime community. Like, if there was an AI generated version of a story that's like him, um, wouldn't you want him to be credited?
We can hear you.
So, 'cause he deserves that as So this is where AI is very soulless for me. The line I
Fuck y'all guys up for a second. The entire stream kind of lagged out, and they didn't hear anything you just said, Jeremy. 'Cause even I didn't hear shit.
That was such a good point. That was such a good point too.
We
I think
were
your audio
talking.
bugged. I mean,
Yeah.
your internet bugged.
Yeah, some weird shit just happened. Sorry, chat. My bad.
Was it able to get recorded at least? We can always post it in the
No. That entire section was gone, and even my camera was fucky.
Yeah,
your camera's still frozen.
Yeah, it's still
Yeah.
frozen right now. I'm not sure what
You're looking
happened.
good though. It's a good angle.
Right? This looks like
Yeah,
a dope
chat,
look
and that
away
was-
shot.
Chat, and that was such a good point that I made too.
All right. So we are talking about how it could impact like developers, not the studios, but the people working within the development studio. So the chat is asking you to restart, Jerm. You think you can
Me?
restart? Yeah. What in the fuck? Yeah, that's not gonna work. That restart's not gonna work.
So yeah, developer wise, it's
Yeah.
gonna impact the it's gonna help them get games out quicker for sure. But we were kind of discussing that last week. Is that actually good for the overall industry that games are coming out so fast that they're just eating themselves alive? And from a consumer perspective, I need time to play games. My time to play games is so limited. I don't need games coming out every 3 months that are going to take me away from finishing another game. That already happens, So I don't need them coming out any faster than they already do. So, I personally don't see any issue with the industry as it is as a whole when it puts games out. I prefer them actually come out maybe even a little less frequently, so I actually have time to play them.
So
Last week you said you wanted them to be more expensive too, so I don't know if I'm trusting you.
Yeah.
No, but I was talking about we're talking about AI and how industries could be how developers could benefit from that. That's what we were talking about.
Yeah. So they'll be able to come out with the games quicker. That's a for sure thing. They'll be able to be cheaper. Costs could potentially
They'd
stay
lay
down.
off less people.
So this is something I realized I haven't heard you guys say. I was waiting for you guys to say something, right? One, it would eliminate crunch. Crunch is a big thing in the games industry right now. AI would help with that, right? I also foresee like character concepts, stuff like that. They could definitely use AI for concept art. And in some cases too, the same game that we can't really remember right now. It wasn't Farsight. It was something else. But the fact that they use AI generated like backgrounds or lands or whatever, the fact that they did that, I think that was super dope for them to actually be able to pull that off because it didn't look AI generated. It was good. I don't think that also helps developers too. Less time on creating these landscapes and all that stuff. So that's just what I think
I
about
would
it.
prefer the AI be used in a form of intelligence for NPCs and stuff like that. That makes sense.
I've seen even there they can use it there as well. I've seen them try to implement that as well, and the AI pretty much is pulling information from the internet, and it's like, yo, what is existent? I've seen those clips. What is your existence? And they had the AI question their existence right then and there. That's freaking wild.
There was actually an experiment we ran a while back in one of my classes. They were asking you to generate an AI generated image, and I kind of mentioned it earlier. The image I chose was a homeless man. That's all it was. I just wrote homeless man and I asked it to generate me a photo. And I generated that photo over 200 times. And only one time was it a white person. Think about that for a moment. That is really bad that AI would push it in that direction. So as of where this is my issue with AI, where it really doesn't have the sensitivities that need to be put on certain elements of it. That's where, for me, that's really bad, and I don't want that. Just think about, you talked about crunch. What if something like that was to slip through the development process, and then all of a sudden you have a PR nightmare on your hands? And so that is the problem. I mean,
It's an excellent point.
I don't like that, and I would prefer that it just. There's a reason why we've done things how we have, and there has to be a level of attention to detail and empathy placed on things. This is why art is so important in these areas of artistic expression. I prefer they get all the time they need, and now you guys disagree, but I'll pay that premium price for a premium product.
Yeah,
And
but
that's
I don't
how I feel.
necessarily think those. Well, we've seen in the past that those things can actually go slip through the cracks. But when it comes to AI, they definitely would need like some kind of regulation, right? And some kind of overseer of all of that. So things like that wouldn't happen.
Yeah, let's just say GTA did that, for example, and they're like, oh, AI is generating, a homeless area in Miami,
Hmm.
and it's nothing but, ethnic minorities. I don't know how I feel about that. It may be or may not be an accurate representation of downtown Miami. I don't know. I've never been there. But is that the kind of, do we want to go that? Is that okay? You know?
Mm.
So, is that okay? And that's a good question, I think.
You could feed the prompt though request for diversity.
Yeah, because at the end of the day,
Yeah.
it is a prompt. You kind of have to specify exactly what you're looking for.
Yeah, but I think you could do that, yes, for sure. But then, what is something like that could easily just slip through the QA process. It has happened already in all sorts of avenues of our life. So, um, I think the most recent example is Kung Fu Panda 4.
Hmm.
Apparently, they use a lot of AI generated animation, and
Oh, really?
there's a
That I didn't
some
know.
controversy surrounding that, and the quality kind of people are noticing the quality difference, and it's just they're also outraged that it took work away from animators. So so it's already kind of creeping into our way of life, but it has to is can't should how far should we allow this to go as people? Because think about us in school music arts, and arts, like other these types of arts are already struggling to find funding in the schools. If AI is doing it for us, how will schools even have an opportunity to get that funding anymore? I prefer to not live in that world. If you ask me,
I see a lot of
that's
people
fine.
going into computer engineering at that point because
Oh,
now it comes down to like the thought of when machines just became like during the industrial era or whatever. That was the
yeah.
biggest
Well,
concern. People were worried about people losing their jobs, even to this day. And
it already
a lot of
happens.
suggestions where people should think about venturing into like mechanics and stuff like that
Well,
because those machines are gonna need maintenance.
the way I see it is AI is now coming for our game developer jobs, people that are in those industries. Just think about how you would feel if
Film
AI was
too.
coming for your job, whatever it is that you do. You know? So, um,
Technology is coming for every single job though.
yeah.
Exactly, because it's all about simplification. As soon any company is trying to
Increase
have
revenue,
ever
profits.
increase exactly and pay less. That's all they're trying
Well,
to
I'd
That's what
do.
we're
also
all aiming
like to
for.
know
Yeah.
the fact that news keeps coming out that things keep getting more and more expensive. So if we're starting to use AI and machines to do everything, shouldn't that make things cheaper technically? So you see where there's a disconnect there.
It'll make things
There's
cheaper, but
something
people
got to
won't have
give
jobs to
here.
buy
Who's
them.
telling the truth? You know what I mean when it comes to these kinds of things. Why are we paying more for things if AI is supposed to be making it cheaper?
Everything is kind of blamed on
Yeah.
inflation at that point too. So
Yeah. That may be a hard stance on my side, but I urge caution with AI. I don't think it is good for every aspect of the industry. It should only be used for like coding and things like Heart
oh yeah,
was saying.
I
But
totally agree. I wouldn't dare say it was supposed to be like in every aspect of gaming, but I can definitely see where it could be beneficial for especially game devs that have to undergo crunch. That's where my mind is when it comes to stuff like that. Like a lot of these people are doing so much work and not even being compensated for it, which is crazy to me, right?
it would be cool for fighting games to, fighting games largely aren't sprite based anymore. But if they were, AI would be beautiful, for those, because instead of them having to hand draw them, it would be cool to be able to get those games out quicker.
Yeah. So we're gonna go back to that question of the day. I think I had it as a pinned comment. If not, my apologies. I can pin it to right now, Jet. And the question was, should we be concerned about AI taking over the games industry? Germ has his points. Heartless, what do you think? I think you kind of shared your thoughts, but
Yeah, I
you're
mean,
like
I
any.
think it reduces the barrier to entry, and I
Mm,
think it gives people. I think it's pretty much like introducing virtual instruments in music softwares.
mm,
You know,
I
there's
personally
programs right
want.
now that will literally play drums for you. You select what style of drums you want, and you can go and add it to your guitar tracks, and now boom, you have a song.
right,
and
I,
that's where I see the benefit of technology is that it allows the average everyday person into the door. But then there's the other side of the coin in which companies then go lay off 60% of this workforce because they can just feed prompts and come up with what they want.
right.
Everyone just becomes a writer at that point.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm against that idea of every person being able to do that, because there's a reason why certain things are specialized. There's a reason why you go to school to learn skills, you know. So you take that away, it, there's a you got it's like going to the NBA or the NFL. Like the barrier entry has to be high, or you lessen the quality of the product.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same idea for the gaming industry, I think.
You're saying the barrier to entry should be hard and high?
It should be not easy. It should not be, it should be, you should have to put in a lot of work in order to get your foot in the door. Because
Even if you use AI prompts to come up with every single bone in a video game, you would still have to organize all of that into a functioning video game. Like
Well,
it
true.
wouldn't be easy. You understand what I'm saying?
It's so Heartless is looking at less on the whole coding. He's looking more on the more coding aspect of game development, right? That
Pretty much.
simplifies it for people
It
like regular
it
guys like
simplifies the
you and
coding.
I, right? We could have like
Yeah.
a crazy idea, but because we don't have the facilities to make a video game,
Yeah.
it's we won't even try, right?
Yeah.
'Cause- so
So
now with
with
AI,
AI,
exactly with
we're
AI,
still
use
going to
that,
have to use the Unreal Engine. You're
right?
still going to have to know how to manipulate the Unreal Engine. What would happen is you would pull up a plugin within Unreal Engine and you would feed the prompt and it would give you, like, let's say you're looking for an animation. So you feed the prompt sword swinging over the left shoulder, jumping in the air, Viking style. You know what I'm saying? And the prompt would give you a skeletal animation of that. Will give you a skeletal animation of that movement that you fed into the prompt. But you still have to take that animation, connect it to a rig, put that rig in the space. You see what I'm saying?
yes,
You still
I see the application of what you're saying, Heartless. I just think it's an oversimplification of the process. There's no elegance there. That's what I
That's like
think.
I think it's like sampling in music. Some
Yeah.
people say sampling. Some people say sampling is trash. Some people say sampling is the elegance.
Yeah.
Well, you could find the same thing to cooking. Essentially all recipes and all ingredients have already been combined. Now it's just a matter of you doing it. you know.
Pretty
Right.
much.
So I kind of see where you're going there, and yeah, I could see it.
All right.
Uh,
So
I
again,
would
chat.
prefer to not
Sorry.
over rely on AI. That's my only thing. Is I don't want to as the gaming industry, I wouldn't want it to be over reliant on those things because I think it would do the opposite of what you're saying, Harless. It would not lower the barrier entry. It would remove the entry altogether, and there would be no job. So that's my final stance on
No,
that.
I don't think there would be a job. I think everyone would be their own indie game dev
Yeah.
individually.
And it's also would allow them to even learn a lot more at that point, right? Because now they feel like there's hope for them to pursue this career or whatever, right? Or they want to try this thing out. They could kind of try a hand at it, find out they love it, and even go further and learn more at that
Well,
point.
anyway,
But kind of
to what,
modders do
what
that
Bell is
already
saying,
Mm-hmm.
in games.
to
It's
what
kind
Phase
of like
Bell is
the
saying,
modding culture in
Mm-hmm.
games where they create a new, bikini Chun-Li or whatever, and then, they
Yeah,
put it out there and
but those modders already have that facility of some level of idea of what to do there. We're talking about like people who don't
well,
have that.
well, what I was saying is eventually those people that by showcasing their skills like that, they get
Mm-hmm.
picked up at studios because they've showcased the skill.
Mm.
I
It's a
think
showcase of skill.
I think all of this will play out exactly how music played out. 100 years ago, no single individual person was making entire songs and albums by themselves. They needed entire teams. They needed engineers. They needed mixing, mastering engineers. They needed to hire musicians to come in and play the stuff. Right. Nowadays, you have kids in their room doing every single part of the song. And that didn't lower the quality of music. No, what happened was it allowed more people to make music. And when more people are making music, there's more competition. And competition breeds innovation.
Innovation. Yep.
Exactly. And I think that when everyday people have the ability to work on something and not have to go spend thousands and thousands of dollars to get an education, I think on the surface we could think, oh wow, this new technology is going to remove jobs from people. But what it really does, it just allows people to make their own jobs out of it.
Okay.
That's how I think about it. That's how I see it. I
So
think
there's
it'd be
multiple perspectives of this whole AI situation.
I think we could leave it on that. I
Yeah, I
think
think
that's
we
all.
both have a good point here.
Right.
You both guys have a good point at that point.
Again, chat. If you guys have opinions on that, there's a channel in the Discord for questions, concerns, comments. Let us know what you think. We would love to
Yeah.
hear your guys' voice too, because I'm sure there's many sides that the three of us may have not considered,
Yeah.
and so we want to hear what you guys have to say. And you never know, we could bring up the topic again in a future episode. So.
Oh, the AI conversation is definitely going to get retouched because at some point it's definitely going. It's still going. It's like an ongoing situation.
Get an industry professional, someone who actually works in game development. I would love to be able to get their opinion
I'll
if we know
I'll
any.
I'll definitely try to see what I can do. But yeah, guys, if you guys want to answer the question today, you want to share your thoughts on this whole thing, exclamation mark Discord. Hop in the waiting room. We could push you guys in, and you guys can share your opinions on this whole situation. We are ending in like 5 minutes, so you guys have a short time to do so.
Do you want me to go over the sales?
Yeah, so meanwhile, we're gonna go over the sales. Germ is gonna take it away right there. And what we say now, we're gonna have a lot more also on the show notes and possibly in the Discord as well. I already started to upload a lot of sales in the Discord. And you can find it both in the Illyria Discord and the Collective Discord. I made a channel.
So we have some doozies this time, listeners in chat. So Street Fighter 6 is currently 44% off. It's $33.59 right now on Fanatical. What a deal. Pick it up. If you don't have Street Fighter 6, get it. Ed is out. There's no reason to have Akuma's coming in like 2 months. This is the time. Figured to score a great deal on Street Fighter 6. I play it. Cash plays it. Heartless plays it. We're all going to Evo. So yeah,
I cannot wait for Evo.
That.
Okay.
And Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 is currently 74% off for $6.50. Let me repeat that. One of the greatest fighting games of all time is currently only $6.50. Yeah.
Yeah,
Go buy it
that's
right.
big. That's big.
The Resident Evil 4 remake is currently 33% off. It's currently on sale for $26.99. So another great deal and one of the best games of last year.
I actually picked that one up too.
Capcom in general, these are just 3 of the games we're highlighting, but Capcom in general on Fanatical has a really great sale. You can find games as much as 80% off. Just find your title, and it'll probably be on sale on that website.
Also, all of these will be in the show notes, and you can also find them in Collective Discord at Collective Gaming Updates, and in the Illyria Discord under the same name, Collective Gaming Updates.
Is Heartless going to do the...
yes, he definitely is.
You guys ready for this?
Oh, yes, please. Put on that sexy voice.
So first off, with our very first affiliation nation, we got Origin PC. Are you trying to build the ultimate gaming PC? Then look no further than Origin PC. They're an award-winning PC building company, whether you're a gamer or a professional gamer. Origin PC has you covered. Check them out by clicking the link in the show notes or the description of this podcast. Also, this is an affiliate link, so any qualifying purchases will result in us getting a commission at no extra cost to you guys. So please and thank you for the support.
Oh, let's go. All right.
And that was a good one. Any other ones?
The other one, which is just Gamefly.
Gamefly?
Yeah.
You got it. Look, let's try to make the Gamefly a little longer next time because
I'll make sure.
So with Gamefly, you can rent discs, play unlimited games, and buy used games and movies. So make sure to check them out. Also, with the affiliate link, as you guys know, we make some cha-ching, and at no extra cost to you guys.
Let's go.
And all Fanatical, all the plug I just did, we get a kickback on that sub too.
Yeah, so all of these are affiliate. Yeah, all of them are affiliate links, guys. So any purchases you guys make will.
There's 19 people in here though. Oh, Tinky raided us.
Yeah, we got a raid. Let's go. Shout out to Tinky with the raid. Let's go.
The Tinky.
But yeah, you guys hopped in when we were talking. We were discussing AI, and one of the biggest questions here is actually a pinned comment in the chat right now. Should we be concerned about AI taking over the games industry? What do you guys think? You guys can actually hop in the Discord and share your opinions live on air. Just hop in the waiting room. We'll transfer you guys in. Let us know what you guys have to say. Well, yeah, that's pretty much it, though.
Mm-hmm.
We could give people some time if they want to, but we're closing up shop in like 5 minutes.
So we're gonna take a call now, or are we gonna do our outro?
We're gonna take a call if people want to hop on, but we're gonna give people like a few minutes if they want to join.
But for those in the chat, I just want to shout out our boy Darlin over in the Cash community. He made this for me. It's super cool. It's got the X Element logo down here. Great work. I haven't tested it out yet, but it is a great piece of work from him. So if we're currently in the stages of perfecting it, but I just wanted to shout him out. It's really beautiful.
Yeah, it looks dope. Also, quick note: Ghost of Tsushima is coming to PC. For those that didn't know, now you know.
It seems to be the cycle with PlayStation exclusives. About a year, 2 years, 3 years, and then they make it to Steam. Seems to be
they're looking to go into day and date now, though. I'm actually looking forward to that. I really feel like I'm gonna fully transition to PC at some point. Like, I won't worry about the consoles.
I want a gaming PC. I don't really want a PC for gaming. I want a PC for streaming capabilities because of all the, it's just easier to stream on a PC than it is to get your sources and everything all set up and the overlays. That's what I want a gaming PC for. I probably would still play on my console, but I at least want to have that for the stream so I can grow my stream to the best of its ability.
I hear that.
If I stick to a regular schedule, But once I'm done with school, I'm hoping I can have a gaming PC by then. That should be in about 9 months. Do you already know what we're going to talk about next week, Cash? Or do you want to give
No idea. We're going to wait until like the news because again, every week it's based on what the biggest topics are for that week. That's how we usually come up with topics. So yeah.
No.
Gotcha. All right. So nobody really has any opinions about
they shy.
AI. Yeah, they shy. It's all good though. We're gonna raid out though. Do you guys have anybody you'd like to raid out? Chat, you can also give us someone you'd like for us to raid out as well.
Let me look. You guys want to raid out to Davis in Fortnite?
Well, chat's thinking about that. I just want to put a shout out to X Element, my team that I work for. This is our logo right here. We just did a Call of Duty Challengers Cup. We didn't make it out of the first round, but we're not gonna let that get us down. We're gonna keep going, and we are gonna have participants in Evo, CEO this year in Orlando, Florida, and we do have participants in Evo. We do have a donation of merch that we're currently pushing. Check out the link in my bio if you guys want to donate towards the cause, towards us going to Midwest Fest in June 7th through the 9th. We would love your support.
I was gonna let you do your outro, Jeremy. You're so impatient.
Oh, it's wait some downtime. Sorry.
No, you're good. Heartless, let the people know where they can find you since you're already there.
Yo, it's the guy Young Heartless. At the Heartless _99 on Twitch. Yeah, I should actually post. Let me go to my channel. I'll pull it up and put the link in for everybody to check me out. Because y'all know I am.
Oh, FaZe Bella did drop a opinion in the comments. I didn't realize that. Our bad. Let's go back here. So this is what FaZe Bella said about AI in gaming. Heartless, you want to read that? Because I don't know why I can't see that correctly.
She said, I think we should be aware of the fact that AI could cost people in the gaming industry could lose their jobs. It could cost people their jobs. But yes, also could give game developers the freedom to start their own studios using AI to help them. And I think that is the key right there. Those are both the two sides to the same coin.
Right.
It's like when the car was invented, the horseback riders lost their jobs.
Mm-hmm. It's balance. There has to be a balance. It's also evolution. I feel like it comes with a certain level of evolution to gaming. I feel like the job is just gonna change. The people are gonna lose their jobs to some degree, but I also feel like it's going to open up new jobs. It's gonna open up new jobs.
I think this ultimately comes down to the level of quality we receive if we fully embrace AI. If the level of quality does not drop, and if the prices go down, great. Mm-hmm. But if the quality does not either go up or if the quality drops, that's a big problem for me. Okay. So ultimately, that's where I will be watching. Is if the quality goes up, sure, but I'm not willing to pay more for it. Yeah, I expect the price to either stay the same or go down. That's the whole reason to do it in the first place. So, but if the prices continue to go up and the quality goes down, no, thank you. It gives me the ick,
Mm-hmm. All right, I think I got someone. You can read out to. Ryder is streaming.
best last while we're just setting up the raid, the best thing I could contribute it to is the difference between your mom's home cooking from you guys.
This might be
and
a
your
USB
opinions.
port issue. I'm not really sure what's going on, but it's definitely some kind of USB port issue. Thank you guys for joining in. The raid has already started. Can you guys hear me? I'm pretty sure everybody can hear me now at this point.
Yeah.
Barely.
Barely. But
And
we'll catch
shout
y'all
out to the
later.
greatest host
Thank you,
of all
everybody.
Thank you.
podcasts.
I'll be right back, guys.
Mm-hmm. I'll be here again next week. Thank you, Bella. Thank you. Thank you for being in here. Appreciate the support from everybody, man. We're still growing. We're getting there. We're getting there. A lot of this is growing pains, but we're gonna get better at it. I promise. We're gonna be there. Shout outs to everybody. Have a good night. Peace out. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, that shit kind of annoyed me.